Hi there, this is Atilla Yeşilada, broadcasting for Real Turkey channel. We do turkey, we do it real well. Sometimes we do other things because you can't eat turkey all day. I mean, there's ham, there are other delicacies, of course, vegetables. So sometimes we do emerging markets and the world economy. As you may know, if you live in the Muslim world, it is the Islam's biggest holiday, sort of comparable to Christian Christmas. It is Eid al-Hajj. That's when the pilgrims go to Mecca. Uh, you know, uh, this year, of course, no one is going to Mecca because of the COVID-19 pandemic and this nasty new variant called Delta. There is also a Lambda, which is hampering international travel. I have made it a principle uh, not to say anything nasty or depressive during major religious holidays, both Muslim and Christian. I am neither Muslim nor Christian, but I do respect religions and I want people to have some fun during holidays. Life is hard enough as it is. So today I'm going to talk about Turkish tourism. In particular, I want to answer the question of whether Turkey is safe to travel. I'm going to talk about vaccination, the variants, and other issues that tourists may be concerned about, such as mucilage or sea snot that had about a month ago covered most of the surface of the Marmara Sea, whether that's a problem, and of course, crime. Is there crime? And finally, since there are not very many visuals in a video like this, I'm going to show you a couple of sites, historic Neolithic sites from Turkey, which I have not visited, but I've watched countless YouTube videos about them, and I think they are very impressive. Okay, are you safe if you travel to Turkey for tourism, but for other reasons as well? If you are from the Western world and have received your 2 doses of mRNA type of vaccine, yes. Uh, Currently, the Ministry of Health, as of yesterday, which is 21st of July, administered 65 million doses of shots. About 25 million of those are Sinopharm from China, which is an old-fashioned COVID-19 vaccine and not very effective against the Delta variant, according to research I tried to read. I'm an economist, not a medical expert, so I hope I'm not making a mistake. But the rest are BioNTechs, and vaccination is increasing rapidly. We're up to 1 million doses a day. So even though cases are rising, we currently report about 8.2K thousand cases per day. It's really not a big problem. 35% of the Turkish population is fully vaccinated. If you're coming to Turkey for sun and fun, that is, if you're going to Bodrum, Antalya, Marmaris, Kuşadası, the Aegean and the Mediterranean coastal regions and resorts, the vaccination rates are much higher. The people there understand the importance of tourism industry and the safety, so they have really flocked to vaccination centers. Another important thing is we know, well, okay, I am trying to summarize medical research about which I'm not an expert. We know even mRNA vaccines are not very or 100% effective against the Delta variant. Just how effective they are to stop infection depends from country to country. But we know there is a slight chance that you may catch a light form of COVID-19, sort of a bad grip or a bad cold or influenza, if you are vaccinated and exposed, called the breakthrough cases. Uh, Delta variant is present in Turkey. According to several doctors I have watched on TV or read reports from, it represents only 10% of the cases. It's not the dominant variant. The dominant variant is one of the lineage A UK strains, which, of course, all sorts of COVID viruses are dangerous, but mRNA vaccines take care of that little baby. The only thing that you need to be concerned about is uh, being careful about exposure to Russian tourists. I don't want to be misunderstood. I don't like Putin, but I really like Russians. They're extremely intelligent people. But unfortunately, in Russia, only Sputnik, which is an old style vaccine, is available, and vaccination is going very slowly. This is a major concern, not only for tourists, but for the Turkish population as well, simply because we don't really conduct any tests. If they have vaccination certificates, they are in. Excuse me. Uh, and I heard it, though I can't verify it, that fake vaccination certificates are selling at very high prices in the Moscow black market. There are also Afghan refugees which are fleeing Taliban, but your chances of being exposed to Afghan refugees is zero. So don't worry about it. If you have your 2 doses of vaccines, do come to Turkey. Let's talk about other problems. Mucilage, you might have heard. It is sea snot. It's sort of like a snot-like substance covering the surface of the sea. It became a problem in Marmara Sea. Uh, Most of the shores were covered with mucilage. The government claims it has been resolved, but I again watched scuba divers and environmentalists who say the mucilage has sunk to the bottom of the sea and now presents a major threat to marine life. But as far as I know, there have been no reports of mucilage or related hazards to the environment or to human health in the Aegean and Mediterranean coasts. If you are visiting Istanbul or Bursa, which is known for its Ottoman architecture, just be careful if you want to take a bath in the sea. Crime is always a concern. I mean, when I go somewhere else, whether it's for business or for uh, uh, tourism, I always check whether crime is a problem. This is why, even though I would love to go to Mexico, I'm extremely afraid of being stuck in the middle of a firearms exchange among drug cartels. No, crime is not a problem. The ratio of tourists exposed to any kind of violence, mugging, etc., is probably less than a tenth of a percent. Turks, according to surveys, don't like Westerners, but actually they don't like the Western governments. Tourists of all kinds are greeted in a very friendly manner. Of course, if you are leaving your resort and visiting the city, or if you are in Istanbul, another major tourist site with Hagia Sophia, for instance, you have to be concerned about the street peddlers who are trying to sell you this and that. They could be really sticky. I don't. They attack the native population too. I don't like them. But if you are taking a tour bus, that's not going to be a serious problem. Turkey, in many respects, is one of the safest places among alongside the Mediterranean that you can visit. On top of it, with Turkish lira depreciating very rapidly against the dollar and euro, I would think it's cheaper of an equivalent quality vacation in Greece or Spain. I want to show you some sites that, if you have time in your hands, I would recommend you visit. One of my biggest uh, misgivings or regrets is that Turkish tourism is only known for five-star resort hotels and for clean beaches. Actually, Turkey is one of the cradles of civilization. It's the northern part of the Fertile Crescent where the Sumerians and other Mesopotamian ancient cultures have started what, as we know today, is the human civilization. And I want to show you some sites which you can visit via arrangement by your hotel or tourist guide, which are definitely without equivalent in the world. The first is in Adıyaman. It's really, you know, out of the way, but this is a mountain where by the way, I'm not a tourist guide. I'm only an amateur enthusiast of archaeology, so I'm not gonna tell you about the archaeological history. I just want to show you the sites. This is the Nemrut Mountain, and at the bottom, right behind the visitors, you see uh, heads of sculptures. Actually, they are huge. I don't know if they're as big as the ones in Easter Islands, but it's a formidable sight because uh, they are placed at an altitude of something like 6,000, 7,000 feet. So, and they weigh like something like 50 tons a piece. Who carried them up there? What the king was up to? I mean, what did he want to prove? Anyhow, though, it is fantastic. If you are into Neolithic cultures, there are two sites I would recommend. The first is, I think, better known, Çatalhöyük. Up until a few years ago, we thought this was the oldest city in Anatolia, with a population of, depending on the estimates, 2,000 to 10,000. The initial settlement is believed to be 66 or 6,500 years old, but the representative picture here shows it's like a pueblo, I believe is the right word. The denizens built houses on top of the older houses, so there are several layers. And it's really fascinating how these people managed to uh, harbor such a large population in such a dense area. They also domesticated animals, and apparently they didn't have a hierarchical structure. That is, they didn't have a king or a chief. They sort of had a democracy, though, of course, it's questionable just how much we can deduce from a few artifacts. Anyhow, though, I think it is definitely worth seeing if you are into ancient cities. It's completely different and precedes than the Sumerian or Babylonian cities. And finally, this should be the pride of Turkey, and it should be visited by hundreds of millions of visitors, I believe. This is just one picture of Göbekli Tepe, which is rewriting history. It's believed to be 11 or 12,000 years old. It is the first known temple in the world. It also has the first sculptures, even though they are rather simple. And this is just only one of the temples. Apparently, there are enclosures like that, which may be 50 or 60. And the most intriguing part of these temples is they were built by nomadic people. We always thought uh, religious architecture and cities is a product of agrarian societies. So first comes agriculture, people settle down, build cities, people specialize, surplus value is created, and then the kings or the high priest orders them to build temples, palaces, etc., for some god or other. This is not the case. People didn't live here. They came from all over the region, built these, probably used them for some kind of uh, ritual practice, but we don't exactly know because by then writing an alphabet had not been invented. We know nothing about these people, but we're finding more sites like this in Turkey and Jordan and Iraq, I believe. So Göbekli Tepe is no longer unique, but I think it's the uh, best excavated one. Once again, it would take a chopper or flight from your hotel to get there. It will be only an hour or so, and I think you will definitely get your money and time's worth. And finally, of course, if you want to, see, uh, architecture or relics from the Middle Ages to the Ottoman era, and pristine beaches and very friendly people and no crowds, go to Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. You can't fly there directly because no one recognizes it. You can take a flight from any major Turkish city. It's only like an hour, and it's really amazing how just how beautiful the beaches are. Or if you are visiting Greek Cyprus, all you need is a passport to cross the border and walk into the island. The whole island is only as big as Istanbul, so with a taxi you can see all the major cities within a few hours. But as I've said, uh, the medieval uh, castles or their remains, the Ottoman era architecture, of course, the Greek contributions, the churches, and then finally what the English have created during their domain over Cyprus are very interesting. Well, this is another broadcast by Real Turkey Channel presented by Attila Yeşilara. If you like it, please share it with your friends and stay well. Until next time, this is Attila Yeşilada saying goodbye from Istanbul.